everyone, Ryan Young, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu. Hope you're doing well. So I'm sitting outside the studio right now. We're getting ready to do a class. Got my instructor in there cleaning up, getting ready. So I thought I'd kind of take a few minutes to get some thoughts down on competition. Because I've said in the past that, in my mind, the traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu that we do here at KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu, the Rickson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, is the best Jiu-Jitsu, I feel, all around at least, because the sports stuff, it's all groundwork, right? That's when people say, I'm going to go to my ground, I'm going to work on my jits, right? I'm going to go jits, work on my ground. And they do the Muay Thai, the boxing, the wrestling, and all that for their stuff on their feet. Whereas the traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, we have the stand-up elements. We have the managing the distance, the clinch, the punch block defense. Granted, we never really claim to be best in breed when it comes to any kind of stand-up action. However, the whole purpose of our stand-up game is to get us to the clinch, which is safety, right? Because you got red zone, green zone, red zone, right? Red zone, actually green, red, green. Take it back. Green when you're far out to where your opponent can't reach you. Red when you're in the range of either his hands or his legs. And green when you're clinched back up on him again. So the typical jiu-jitsu person, traditional, KAATARO Jiu-Jitsu in particular, we don't necessarily want to stand and trade with somebody, right? Like a Muay Thai fighter would. Because you can get pretty good at Muay Thai, but there's going to be somebody better. Well, you should have just used that Muay Thai perhaps to get in for the clinch. But if your goal is to knock the guy out or, break his leg while you kick it or something, then even though your jiu-jitsu is better, your groundwork is better, you might just kind of get trapped in that whole mindset of, let me just beat this guy up. In the meantime, you don't realize that the guy you're up against, he's Muay Thai champion, right? And he just literally destroys you before you even get a chance to clinch him and take him down. So my belief is that you want to have a system that has all the pieces working toward the same goal. When you're standing up, the goal is not to take somebody down. When you're standing up, it's to stand up. When you're fighting on the ground, then your goal is not to stand back up, it's to stay on the ground. So go back to the conversation at hand, which is traditional jiu-jitsu versus non-traditional BJJ jiu-jitsu, sport BJJ. Now, when we enter into the realm of a sport BJJ school, they compete all the time. We don't. And I want to bring this up because just last weekend, here we are, October 28, 2020, we had just participated in the AGF. I guess it's American Grappling Federation tournament. They've been starting to do more events here in the Dallas area, and we went to their second event. I did have one student compete in the first event that we came across, and this is the second one, and we had 8 people compete in this one, which isn't a big team at all. It's big for us. Last time we had 8 people in a tournament was Rickson Gracie Cup 2018 in Dallas, or Arlington rather, and we had 8 people in that one. And for those of you who might have seen our previous videos, kind of just going over the results of it, we didn't do bad. We had 8 guys, brought home 10 gold medals, 2 silver, and a bronze. So I think 13 medals total, and we took 3rd place team. And with 8 guys, 2nd place had 33 and 1st place had 88. And as far as the medal count, we had, I think, the same gold medal count, or maybe better gold medal count than team number 2. And in fact, they beat us by 1 point for 2nd place, meaning if we had maybe one more competitor, or if instead of bronze we had silver, one of our bronzes we had a silver, then we could have taken 2nd place with just 8 guys. Anyway, fast forward to last weekend, we had 8 guys again. This was actually a younger group. The last one we had people that were deep in the blue belt and deep into white belt. This tournament we have people that are pretty solid white belts, actually a couple of deep in the white belt, and a couple that are blue belts. Rather, typically young blue belt, not really deep in the blue belt. And this group of 8, we brought home 5 gold medals, 2 silvers, and 5 bronze. And as far as the team goes, in gi competition, they have gi and no gi. We only had one guy doing gi, whereas all 8 did. No, one guy doing no gi, whereas all 8 did gi. So we took 4th place in team out of 57 teams that were there. And as far as gold medal count, we took 3rd place out of 57 teams. with the gi on. So can you compete with a self-defense style of learning? Obviously, yes. People will say, well, then you didn't go to a really big tournament like IBJJF and all that. You know, there's some videos that I might have done kind of talks about why we're not into the IBJJF. But basically it's they have their system, and their system has become pretty rigid. When they first started, they weren't really rigid because they're trying to get more people in. But, you know, now it's just, you know, here we have Dave Kama, who's our master here at Kama Jiu-Jitsu. And he's been a black belt since 1996. He's one of the Dirty Dozen. And it took a whole lot. It took a phone call from Hickson for them to even recognize Dave as a black belt. But because he wasn't in their system for all this time, they would only recognize him as a black belt, which means that he can't award black belts. In the meantime, he's already awarded 3, right? You know, but because of that, me being one of Dave's black belts, if I were to enter some students in an IBJJF tournament, I cannot go into the coach's area, right? Even though I've been a black belt for going on 9 years now. And, you know, it's just, they just don't want our business, whereas the other federations seem to want our business. So that's where we're going to take our business. But really what this tournament did was, you know, we went in with 8 guys this time, 8 guys last time, and the results were pretty similar, right, in the results that we were able to produce. And this is with a different bunch of guys. Not a single person from the first group was in this group. The first group in 2018 was in this group this past weekend, and yet the results were pretty similar. So what this leads me to believe is that if you do the traditional Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, Hickson Gracie self-defense style that we do here at Kama Jiu-Jitsu, you will be versed in the self-defense aspects, right? We talk about blue belt being a street ready person, purple belt being a street proficient. We're not talking about competition ready, competition proficient. It's just kind of, if they want to compete, they compete. And, you know, till this day, I don't really know the rules on tournaments. You know, I just tell the guys, just go submit the guy, right? If you win by points, you know, not really a win. If you lose by points, not really a loss. I mean, although on the record, it was, you know, as far as the brackets and all that, yeah, it'll be a loss. I mean, you won't advance. On the other hand, if you win by points, you will advance. But for us, it's all about the submission. And if you can submit somebody, then you take it out of the hands of the judges and the ref and calculating the points and determining whether you got the point or not. You know, all that stuff is pretty subjective. And the goal with us is, if you're going to enter a competition, just go in with the understanding that you better win by submission. Now, you know, you're not always going to, because time factors and all that, but that's what you need to be thinking. Submit. And, you know, in fact, in this last tournament, we had a guy who was down by 6-0. I think got taken down 2 or 3 times, actually, I think. And, you know, this guy was obviously a good wrestler. He was doing the ankle pick on this white belt level, doing the ankle pick on our guy. And you know, was kind of, you know, you think about sportsmanship and all that. You know, the coaches sometimes, you know, that particular gentleman had a coach who said to his guy, you know, if he's going to be dumb enough to stand up again, then take him down again, right? Which I thought was, wow, okay, you know, pretty brazen, right? So yeah, I mean, our guy got taken down via ankle pick 3 separate times. You know, this guy was good. His takedown was good. But at the end of the day, he was winning by 6-0, and his thing was takedown and hold. Well, our guy was able to get his hip out, get on top, and choke him out. Right? 6-0, you know, with us being nothing, didn't matter at the end of the day, right? You know, so, you know, he did well. It was first time ever competing. He never competed before. Tapped his first guy out, tapped the second guy out. He had to win 5 because they had 20, I think, in their bracket. So he had to win 5 to get to the gold medal, and, you know, lost in his third. Actually got submitted, you know, got armbarred from there, which, you know, his first time competing. He's been training for maybe 8 months total. You know, to tap his first 2 guys and to get submitted by the third time, that's fine. You know, he's got the bug now, I think, and he might want to compete again. Whether he does or doesn't matter to me. But the fact that he did it, I'm happy. It got him to understand the butterflies that can kind of come in, and some people deal with it well, some people don't, and he did it really well. And the training, he's not even through the entire white belt curriculum yet, but what he did know, and he was able to do well enough. We did have a little bit of time to prepare, about a month or so. He decided he wanted to do it. But I like competitions. It's just that I don't make it a prerequisite for anybody to advance here at Kama Jiu-Jitsu. I know of an old time master who's an old school guy, and he tells his students, you need to compete. If you don't compete, you can't progress. But at the same time, he's kind of an old school guy, so I can appreciate it. We differ in opinion on that, but that's okay. He has his school, we have ours. If you compete, great. But if you don't, that's fine too. So those of you who are in jiu-jitsu and you're thinking to yourself, I'm in the self-defense style, you don't have to justify the difference. Just say, I came into jiu-jitsu for self-defense. I didn't come in for competition. On the other hand, if you came in for competition, you came in for competition. But my hope is that any blue belt I create is street ready. Any purple belt I create, street proficient. I don't care whether they win medals or whether they even enter a tournament. And just to let you know, if you have friends that also do jiu-jitsu and they do the sports stuff and they talk about their wins in competition, that's great. It's quite an achievement to win in competition. But don't let it put you into an inferiority complex and make you think you need to learn whatever the latest competition technique is. You really don't. The key is to have good base and good fundamentals and be very good at them, right? You could take whatever you learned as a white belt, the stuff that we do from modules 1 through 6 in our white to blue belt curriculum. If that is all you were to learn, but you were to learn to execute it at a black belt level, you will destroy other black belts. Simple as that. Because it's a nice rounded curriculum. Now, granted, as you go up into the belt ranks, we do add in a few more pieces here and there that you can then add to your repertoire, but for the most part, if you just have the basics and you execute the basics at a really high level, you'll be legit. So anyway, I hope that helps you. For those of you who are considering competition or not competing, whatever, to kind of give you an idea that if you do the traditional stuff, you can compete and you can compete well. Crone Gracie was a prime example of it, by the way. Hickson didn't have very many people that were learning under him, and Crone just happened to be a spectacular example of it. But he did spectacularly well competing, beat many world champions. But anyway, I hope that helps you, and let me know if you have any kind of questions, comments, suggestions. Be sure to like and subscribe if you liked it, and share it if you really liked it. And hit us on our website if you want to learn more about the concepts that Dave goes over with us. It's all on our website, KAATARO.com, and consider joining our online academy. Anyway, that's all I've got for you. Take care and happy training. Bye now.